Damn, y'all feel that?
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR underscore podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back in the building for another episode for you. And that's right, that is episode 86. We are almost to 100. But until we get there, we got some more shows for y'all. And this is No Roast Podcast, hashtag KTR. And we going to check in with y'all real quick with my brother today, J-Bo himself. How are you doing, my brother?
Doing good. Just another day being happy. How about you, big dog?
Doing well, can't complain, can't complain, can't complain. As y'all may have noticed, there is one person missing from our episode for today, and that is Big Harv. Unfortunately, he had a loss in the family, and we send our prayers and condolences to him. And while he gets through this difficult time with him and his family, we let's go and roll with this episode. So he's here with us always, but at the same time, he has to handle family business. But until then, y'all gotta do this one simple favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KCL underscore podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Roast Podcast on all podcast platforms. Got Google Podcasts, got Spotify, got Anchor, got Apple Podcasts, got Podbean, everything. And don't forget to get that merch at prowrestlingtees.com/KTR podcast. Let's get into the show.
Good job, Cinko.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's another day, no door. It's like drinking water. But first and foremost, we got to acknowledge one of the GOATs in the wrestling industry, one of the greatest of all times on the microphone, one of the best personalities, one of the best managers, one of the best valets, one of the best minds in the world of professional wrestling, and that is none other than Paul Heyman himself. Yes, Paul Heyman is the new inductee, or the next inductee, should say, for the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame.
Well
Obviously,
deserved.
this is a well-deserved accolade for this man. And this is probably something that a lot of people aspire to be if you're not actually a professional wrestler within the wrestling business. He's done more than just be somebody's manager, even though he's taken that by storm and done great things with that with other wrestlers and helped put them on different pedestals in the wrestling industry that people can only imagine. The amount of work that he's put forth in the business, just with being behind the scenes, planning, general manager, launching ECW. It's been great accolades after accolades, long time coming. Like I said, you heard the news in recent social media posts and in the media and industry, but it's well deserved, and he's getting inducted in Philly where everything started. Like this, it's just a perfect story for him. Jebo, what you gotta say about it?
Honestly, if Paul Heyman isn't in your top five greatest managers of all time, then your list needs to be re-examined. And he doesn't even have to be one of your favorites, your own personal favorites. He doesn't even have to be one of your top five favorite managers personally, but just an overall greatest managers of all time. He should definitely be in your top five. And there's very few that's arguable that you can see that's well rounded. That's arguable. Like one of them I can think off the top of my head would probably be like Bobby the Brain Heenan. I didn't grow up in that generation to see a lot of Bobby the Brain Heenan's works, but he's like the only one that would like truly be arguable for the amount of accolades, for the amount of impact, what they did on screen, what they did off screen, the memorable moments that he had. He had his own wrestling organization with ECW and WWE. He was a general manager. He was a personal manager. He was a producer behind scenes. He was part of the writing team behind scenes. Like he had played so many facets that we see and that we do not see. The image of what pro wrestling today is has been heavily affected by Paul Heyman. So, I mean, we can sit here and say that it's well overdue that Paul Heyman is in the Hall of Fame, but he just been influential into so many segments, even to this day recently with the Bloodline, that he's still giving us good work even up into his Hall of Fame induction. So well deserved. That's honestly all I can really say about it.
And probably the reason why it took so long for him to get inducted, because what, he's still active, and that's the thing about inducting somebody in the Hall of Fame that's still active. They try to weigh it out to see, okay, once they retire, okay, let's do it. But since WWE's currently like running out of people to induct to the Hall of Fame, it's like, well, it makes the most sense. They're in Philly, it makes even more sense at that point. So we might as well do it this at this gesture, and like it makes the most sense because this man has done it all. He's done everything. Shoot. He didn't say Roman Reigns' career.
Yeah.
he revitalized that a lot. He did that. He made a certain wrestler that we can't mention right now, one of the biggest wrestlers in the industry, in professional wrestling, that has also had a successful career in UFC in other accolades in sports, but we can't name the wrestler, but y'all know who we're talking about. He's done great things for him too. So it's like he's made megastars and superstars and all over the place, and he's just all over national media, just doing what he does, and it's great. Like I said, if not say well, it is an if. Like I said, if I was aspired to be somebody like in the professional wrestling world, it would be like him. Somebody I ain't trying to get into the ring, but like everything else he's doing, that would be the way I would want to make it and just do it like that. But nobody is doing it like Paul Heyman. And like I said, kudos, well deserved. Glad you got it, and just keep on striving and working. Moving
Yeah.
on, we're gonna talk about another. He could be considered a goat. So we're talking about that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm putting my goat category, but he's done a lot of great things in professional wrestling, and that is none other than Sting himself. We're gonna give him his respect and everything. The Sting is Sting. No, he doing his thing, but he just had his last wrestling match at AEW. What was it? Revolution.
Yeah, AEW Revolution.
Yeah, AEW Revolution had a tag team match with Darby Allin against the Young Bucks, and he came out victorious with a championship title, which
Yeah.
surprised me a little bit because I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen next with those titles since he's done. But like I
Uh,
said, Sting had a fabulous career, still wrestling at his age, taking those bumps, and that's a lot on somebody that age with health. But like, I mean, he didn't look as bad as some people's final match. We're not gonna say who, but you know that reference. But other than that, no,
yeah.
Sting has had a well-rounded career in professional wrestling, very heavily influenced. No, carry a lot of era, especially the WCW era with wrestling, and done a lot of great things. And like I said, more kudos to you and all the accolades you've done in your past. So like that was a great thing. And like he had a decent last match out. It wasn't horrendous. So that I'm glad he left off on the note that he did and on the right foot that he wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, personally, how I'm more happy with the fact that Sting was able to end his career the way that he deserves to end his career on his terms. If you look over his career, if you look at his stint with WCW, I mean, the organization had to close out. They were bought out, so he wasn't able to retire the way that he wanted to. He had a great stint in TNA. I enjoyed his characters in TNA, but again, they didn't really give him the proper send off for somebody who had a good 20 years of wrestling experience at that time. And still didn't give him a good standoff. In WWE, he was injured with his championship match with Seth Rollins. He had the WrestleMania match with Triple H, but he ended up losing that match. And they brought in members of NWO, which was sort of like you're kind of taking the shine away from Sting and more on NWO and all of them. So he really needed a good send off. And I feel with AEW leading up to his last match, he's had numerous safe matches in AEW with Darby Allin, where Darby Allin, he does all the crazy stunts. I hope he can freaking walk by next year. But, he does take all those hard bumps. While Sting, he can still, go in. He can do his Scorpion Death Drop, his Deathlock. He can do his safe maneuvers and still put on good matches. And I actually do have to give the Young Bucks credit because I know I'm kind of hard on the Young Bucks sometimes, but the fact that they was able to go in, yes, they did put themselves in the main event category with them, but they took the loss. They let Sting right off in the sunset with the victory, with the championship. That he got both of his sons involved in the match, which was poetic, how they came out in their classic Sting gear. Everything that should have been done and then some to send off somebody like Sting. Again, Sting isn't one of my favorite. My brothers who watch wrestling, they love Sting. They loved him ever since the Surfer Sting to the current Sting. But he's a favorite to a whole bunch of other fans. So I feel that they did send him off correctly, the proper way. Somebody like a legend like Sting should have gone.
Like I said, the proper way and the right way. Like I said, shout out to Sting for a fabulous career. And like I said, we hope to see you in the future. Not in the ring, but just showing your face and showing your respect to the professional wrestling world. Like I said, you did your work and you did your due, you did your just due, and like we accept it and we're proud of you and we love you. Moving on, we're gonna talk about another GOAT. We're just gonna call this the GOAT episode right here. And this is probably one of your personal favorites right here. We're gonna talk about the potential match that more likely is gonna happen on night one of WrestleMania, and that is The Rock. Yes, The Rock has made a proposition to Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins about doing a tag team match with The Rock, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. So with that, we gearing up for a night one main event. Now with that, everybody's gonna love it because you're getting The Rock to wrestle, but he's not wrestling for the top. We still get The Rock to wrestle. So people are going to watch that. But at the same time, now you have people working double duty. Roman Reigns probably going to have 2 matches back to back. Seth Rollins more likely going to have 2 matches back to back, and Cody Rhodes going to have 2 matches back to back. For no title matches. And so, with this being said, how do you feel about this proposition of the main event for night one?
We saw it coming, but and with what they worked with, it makes sense. But personally, I just can't get with it. I can't.
Well, and here, you are a Rock fan.
And I'm a Rock fan. Okay. I did not like how they set up The Rock to face off with Roman Reigns for the title initially. And no, I don't like how they're setting up this match for night one. I really don't want to sound like I'm too hard of a critic, but I just feel that this could have turned out better. First off, the whole tag team idea of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus somebody like Roman Reigns and The Rock, just on paper, it just looks like a mixed match. It really does. You got these 2 huge, physically imposing and name imposing guys against, he is the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, and the winner of the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes. It just visually just looks like it's off, okay? And I cannot see The Rock or Roman Reigns losing the first night. I just can't, because Rock, he just came back, so I can't see him losing to either Cody or Seth Rollins. And then Roman Reigns is still on a path of greatness. So the only ones I can see lose is Cody or Seth Rollins, but neither one of them can truly lose because they both have very important individual matches coming up the following night. I don't know. I really, maybe it's just because I don't like how they led up to this match. It's just not working for me. It's just not working for me. That's why.
Well, with that, I could see, potentially Roman Reigns getting pinned since he got pinned in his last tag team match he was in.
But they're gonna lose, get pinned twice at WrestleMania.
Yep, this is how you finish the story. This is the chapter leading to the final chapter of somehow, some way. You just gotta have Roman lose twice. I think it'll be a way because you get Seth Rollins to pin Roman Reigns first night, then you get Cody Rhodes pin the second. I don't know, or you Cody Rhodes pin both nights. Just the potential buildup of Roman Reigns actually losing. That's how I see it. And also, I feel like this is just another slap in the face and disrespect to Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight title match, because what I pictured was, before his tag team match got brought up, was that his match was going to be the main event for night one.
Yes.
That's not the case anymore. It looked like he's going to open up night 2 apparently at this point.
See, if they did that, then they would have nothing else to do with The Rock, and they're not going to throw millions at The Rock, even though he's in a new position with TKO. But I'm pretty sure they're still giving him money for appearances. They're not going to pay this guy to come in and not have any matches at WrestleMania. So he wouldn't have anything to do. So yes, they do have to do something involving him, and since they threw Seth Rollins to the storyline, they would have to. But an additional problem that I'm seeing, though, that if there's anyone who I would see that can take a pinfall, to me, it will actually be Cody Rhodes. It can't be Seth Rollins because he'll lose and then he'll lose again against Drew McIntyre. I don't see Roman Reigns losing because they want him. I'm pretty sure they want him strong until he finally loses the belt. And then The Rock, they're not going to have The Rock get pinned by either Cody or Seth. I'm not going to see that. But I can see Cody taking the loss. Looks like all hope is lost. Then at WrestleMania Night 2, where he already took a loss on Night 1, he pulls it out. The Rock probably will turn on Roman. I don't know. Just something miraculous will happen where Cody comes out on top. That's the only way I see this tag team match having some type of glimmer of hope leading to somewhere. But again, overall, it's just a complete mixed match, in my opinion.
Yeah, with the bloodline rules. So you're making sense right now because now you just made it hard difficult. 'Cause I'm like now you think about I can't see Roman Reigns losing clean one on
Clean.
one because that would be it because everybody's bad from ringside.
That's right. Yeah, that is right. I just like and yes, can Roman lose in a tag team match? Yes, we saw that with the Usos. But with the Usos, like the only thing that can come from that is an individual one-on-one matchup. But we're talking about WrestleMania. This is like the accumulation of a full wrestling year. He can't lose one match to somebody where we need him to finish the story, but it isn't even for the title. And Seth Rollins, that'll just be weird for him to pin him. So I just don't see them losing. I just do not see them losing until the belt is on the line the second night.
So do you see Seth Rollins helping out Cody Rhodes on night 2? More like he's going to lose his title on night 1.
I think Seth Rollins, I think Seth Rollins, if anything, is going to have to start a storyline with Cody. Like, for example, Seth is going to lose the belt to Drew, but either Seth starts some story with Cody during the tag team match to where after Cody wins the belt, Roman Reigns, he's going to leave and be gone for a while. But now you got a setup for Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes again, but this time with the Universal title in the mix of it. So I can see that.
But if Cody wins, that means he'll be on SmackDown and Seth Rollins on Raw.
Well, if Seth Rollins loses the belt, it doesn't necessarily mean he'll stay on Raw because they like to switch people up, to keep storylines. I don't know. It's a lot of potential possibilities. But since we're talking about the tag team match, it just no one truly wins. Whoever comes out on top in this tag team match.
This is just all confusing, and I'm just lost. And so we hopefully we figure out something in the long run. Another thing that confuses me as well are these new WWE 2K ratings that are coming out for WWE 2K24, which is coming out this week. If you get the pre-order for the Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley edition, it'll come out as soon as you hear this episode. But if you get the regular version, like us, the Cody Rhodes edition, it'll be out this Friday morning. So with that being said, the 2K ratings came out. There's no perfect rating. So Roman Reigns dropped down to a 97, I believe. So it's nobody's 99. But out of everybody's rating that you heard so far and so much, what is the most outlandish rating that you saw that somebody received? And I feel like we both have the same answer for this. Go ahead.
We both know Carmelo Hayes got the most outlandish number in this entire list, in my opinion. Is yours?
You say what?
Carmelo Hayes.
Yes, it like he didn't get no type of respect at all.
No, he got an 81.
It should have been higher, but yeah, there's neither here nor there.
So
I feel like they just did that because he's on NXT and they're treating NXT people like, you're not there yet, but I'm like, wow, okay.
And I'm glad you mentioned that he was on NXT. I know we've talked over the years when the game will come out, like what criteria are they using? And I think I finally come to some understanding of how they're coming up with these numbers. And when I mention a few of these other people, hopefully it'll make sense. I feel that they are solely based on these numbers, not off wins, not off of what you've done in the ring, not off promos, not off ability, strength, size, none of that. They're basing these numbers just solely based on popularity. That's it. Popularity. Like you mentioned, well, he's in NXT. Maybe why that number so low. Exactly. It is in NXT. He's not on Raw. He's not on SmackDown. He's not on these premium live shows. He's just on these NXT shows. So that's why his number, even though he had a great 2023, he was NXT champion. He had great matches with the likes of Braun Breaker, with what's the other guy? Ilya Dragunov, even though he lost the belt to him, still great matches. And he had terrific promo work. None of that means anything because he's in NXT. Okay. That is why. But yeah, what do you think?
Now, I agree. So, like saying, like I feel like he had a great year, especially I feel like it was better than his title year of 2022. Like I feel like he had a very great year, and I feel like at 81 is just like yeah, like it could have been higher. Like you could have made this man like an 84, 85, you know, if you want to give him some type of respect, but like 81 is like bottom of the barrel. You got him less than Rey Mysterio's son, which his rating grew, and I'm just shocked.
83.
83 and for winning an NXT title.
Yes.
He won an NXT title.
Yeah, that's right. But he took the title and he went to the main roster. That's popularity.
Which is stupid. This light just went out again. I'm sorry. This is stupid. It does not make sense. He won an NXT title, but he was like what, a 74, 75 last year and went to an 83. What has Rey Mysterio's son done that made him go up by 8 points?
Judgment Day. Judgment Day. That's what he's done. Judgment Day. Okay. And since we're talking about Rey Mysterio Jr., we also have to talk about Rhea Ripley, who also got a number of 96. And when I say that's BS, is BS. I don't care if she's on the cover of the Deluxe. 96, that's crazy. All of the last year since she won the championship, she beat Charlotte at WrestleMania. That was a great match. I got to give her that credit. But she's beat the likes of Natalia. She's beaten the likes of Zelina Vega. She's beaten what's her name? Starks, Zoe Starks. Okay, and then she recently beat Nia Jax. So this was after the game was obviously announced. But she had a 96. She had a number above Bianca Belair.
Nobody should be above Bianca Belair if that's what we're getting at with this.
Now to play devil's advocate here, Bianca Belair, she was out a good portion of last year. I get that. However, if you compare Bianca Belair's year from the prior year, from when she was champion, she was wrestling almost every week. She wrestled at every premium live event, defending that championship. We have Rhea Ripley, who defended it all of maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the last year, and she still gets a higher number than Bianca Belair. But why does she have that? Because of popularity. Judgment Day is the hottest thing going on. Everyone loves Rhea Ripley. Everyone loves how she looks like. They love to see her finishing move because half of them want to be ended up in that pinning position. It's all because of that given popularity. So no, I do not agree her should be that high, nonetheless, over Bianca Belair's.
And you know what's wild with that is for somebody to be a so-called leader of Damian Priest, Finn Balor rated higher than him.
That is wild. Wait a minute. What was Finn Balor's?
86?
His was 80. He was 87.
87, and Damian was like 86 or 85.
Yep, he's 86. Wow. Yeah.
But you know what's even more surprising?
I'm waiting.
Logan Paul.
I should have known you was gonna say something about Logan.
Is a 90.
and why do you think? And why is he a 90? Cinko?
Because of money. I don't know if you want to say it probably because of money, because he got money and paid for all these things that he's gotten a U.S. title shot, Universal Championship title shot in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
about to wrestle at WrestleMania. It's insane. Like he's gotten all of this, and you're saying Logan Paul is better than a good portion, majority of the roster.
Yes, they are. Yes. Money.
You're saying his wrestle background is better than like 90% of people on the roster.
Absolutely. Yes.
Insane.
And his win-loss record, isn't it like like 2-3 or 3-2. Like it's like 50-50, 60-40, like something like that right now.
He should not be a 90. That's insane. He that's why when you know people and you got a lot of money, you could do stuff like that.
Yeah, that's and speaking of 90, I'll just mention one other one. One other one that kind of stood out to me that was kind of weird was Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam has a 90 this year. Uh and as I think back, I can't think of a time where Rob Van Dam was arguably a 90. Like the closest was when, he won the ECW title and the WWE title consecutively. But I mean, even at that point, that was like maybe a hard 89, like a 90, but
Yeah,
like a
hard
90.
87.
Yeah,
I don't know about
like,
that. That like he's a strong mid Carter. Yeah,
yeah,
not to like shit on him or anything like that, but like he's a great, well-rounded wrestler and Hall of Fame worthy, especially with the Intercontinental title. But like he was just a
but a,
very strong mid card, like strong upper, I'll say upper mid Carter person.
yeah,
I would
like
say that, but 90, that's a stretch. That's
that
almost a
is,
stretch to when they gave Rey Mysterio a 92 overall that one year.
yeah, yeah.
Because he was on the cover. I'm like, I don't know about all that, but
Yeah,
like
we know that's definitely on the cup. But like, and hold on. So Kurt Angle, they gave him an 89. So I can think of numerous years where Kurt Angle was in like 90s easily.
yeah, Kurt Angle's by far better than Rob Van Dam easily.
But he got a higher rating. And we can always just go into the game and update the ratings. We know that. It's
Yeah.
just that it's just what they're publishing initially is giving an outlook of how they view them going into the game. And I don't know. Some of these are just they're stretches. They're clearly stretches.
This is my last one on speak on. And I feel like this is something that everybody got like let go and give up on.
Okay.
Jay Uso.
Okay.
Jay Uso's a 90. Jimmy Uso's an 84. Jay Uso, no disrespect. I love him. Like he's been doing good for what's been given to him, especially with them put him in the solo field wrestling. He's not a 90. I'm
He's not.
sorry. He's not a 90. Let go of this moniker, this main event Jay Uso thing. He could be like he was a 90 that one year when they were a tag team because the bloodline was strong, but now it's like man, 84, 85. 86 if you pushing it, if he
Yeah.
won a solo title, but other than that, he's not a 90. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Like they gave Jimmy Uso an 84, and I even think that's kind of high because Jimmy Uso just been losing and losing and
Right.
losing. And Jay Uso, granted, he got a good, following and his own popularity too. But even in high profile matches, he's won a few, he won the tag team titles with Cody Rhodes in the past year. But like other than that, he really hadn't had any high profile wins for him to be considered 90 from the past year. So
Right. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. But until then, like I said, let the games begin when that game come out. I'm ready to see everybody's rating. Last topic of the evening, it's something different. It caught my attention just in recent time and just made me think. This last second push they're doing with Tony D'Angelo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they put him in the title mix. Against Carmelo Hayes. He just won that match, and now he's gonna be fighting Ilya Dragunov at Stand Deliver in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And with that move, with putting Tony D'Angelo in this NXT title picture, I'm not mad at it. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'll say I'm not mad at it because they need, like I said, NXT needs to figure out the next plan for the new year. And I feel like at this point, since the people that more likely gonna move up are like Carmelo, Ilya Dragunov more than likely, Brian Breaker, like people like them, it's time for somebody new to be like the face of NXT. And like the Don NXT, he's been holding it down for a couple years now, with his segments, also being with NXT Tag Team Champion. And like
Mm-hmm.
with him being the new face of the NXT brand, I'm not mad at it. I can see it happening. I can see it working out in his favor and just carry on for the foreseeable future until his time coming because I can see him as a solid wrestler on the main event, roster somewhere. No, if I'm just speaking on right now, I could just see him as as a mid card filler area. Potentially maybe main card. No, but that's just gonna come with some development. But I could see him in that picture. We think about Tony D'Angelo getting that push.
I wasn't always a fan of Tony D'Angelo. I'll be completely honest. I was interested with where they were going with Tony D'Angelo and his family with Legado del Fantasma back in earlier NXT. I was interested in that. I just didn't like how it ended off. But when he was tag team champions again with him and Stacks, it just didn't really bring me in. But with what they're doing now, where it's like you never know, who he has in his pocket. You never know, who he has at his disposal. That can really work for him. Tony D'Angelo has a very over the top gimmick, and normally when you have over the top gimmicks, it works for like a second, but it eventually dies out. Tony D'Angelo has a gimmick. He has a character where it can always be a mystery. He has very good mic skills. He got a very solid in-ring base. Is he one of the best? No, but it's solid enough where it's a work for the long run. So if you combine that and utilize his character to where, he may be working with this person, or this person's been a face for years. He's actually been, working for Tony D'Angelo. It can really branch off into so many different facets down the line in the future. So I think what they're doing now with him in NXT, where they're really starting to push him a little bit more, good. Let's test those boundaries. Let's see what we can do with this character. And if it does well, don't overdo it. Do the rest on the main roster when that time comes. So this is the first time in a while I'm actually very interested to see where they're going to go with Tony D'Angelo right now.
Yeah, that's that. And I feel the same. I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen in the New Year's, next year NXT when people get called up, because it's going to look a lot different from the previous year. So bada bing, bada boom. But until then, we sign off. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for subscribing. Thank y'all for the support. Thank you for listening to No Roast Podcast of episode 86. But until then, y'all gotta do this one favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms: KTR Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. No Roast Podcast on all podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's go and let's get off this show. This is episode 86. KTR, #KTR, No Roast Podcast, live and direct, and we are out.
In love and respect for Big Harv, tell them what should they do, Cinko.
In the words of Big Harv, pump them goddamn numbers. I still can't do that feature.
Gotta have patience, big dog. Gotta have patience.
That don't compute in my mind, I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.